G'day, and welcome back to Mountain Goat Gaming. It's your boy Sean here with Sir Spaghetti Man Alex Colasante,
Somebody touch my spaghetti!
and we have the big dog himself, the Toddmeister, Matthew from the Green Dragon podcast. G'day, mate. How's it going?
Hey, good, thanks, man. Happy to be brought on.
Oh, mate, we're buzzed to have you here. Because we're going to be chatting about the new rule book and some of the changes that have popped up in that book. Alex was lucky enough to get his grubby little mitts onto it for a few hours last night, so he has, taken down some notes, and we're just going to quickly go over all of these changes that we have found. And Matt, you've been playing this game for so damn long that you seem to be the perfect person to talk to about, changes, and because you would have gone through a couple of edition changes in your time.
Yeah,
just a few. Just a few.
Pretty much all of them. So it's been interesting so far, seeing what people have been talking about with various things online, and keen to hear a bit more in depth about any potential overarching changes, sort of general changes to the game.
Yeah, just two things before we carry on. One, Alex, tell the people what they got to do. What do they got to do?
Gotta get down there and like and subscribe to this video. If you're not aware, we've had some videos disappear from the channel, thanks to Mr. James Workshop himself.
This was it! What do you think I've been working the past 10 years of my life for? They stole it from me, Carmine! They took it!
So we would really appreciate if you just get down there and support the channel, support what we're doing, because we enjoy it. Hopefully we want to see you enjoy our content.
We flew too close to the sun.
Yeah,
we touched it, and we got burnt. Our own hubris. But the next thing, there is a little second thing. Matt, tell us a little bit about the Green Dragon, because I'm sure no one knows who the Green Dragon podcast is.
So,
people have been sending us messages. Where are you guys? What's going on? Do we need to send some ransom money? No, we still exist. We're still out there in the wild. Kylie's going to tournaments, of course, as you'd expect.
Yep,
Jeremy's
love to
still
see
around. He's playing his scenarios. He doesn't care about any of this, by the way. He's just interested in like where my next scenario book coming from. Is this affect Rise of Angmar?
The only thing I've seen him comment on is I mentioned, Philly and Killy's new rule is like pretty solid, and he gave me a thumbs up, and I was really happy with that.
He absolutely shanked me in the Conquest community chat because I got really buzzed about the Dale Erebor thing, and then he comes, he's like, "You've read it wrong," and I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, Jeremy."
Yeah, if Jeremy's coming in with rules lawyer type stuff, you should get worried, because he doesn't usually mind too much about it.
He started doing maths equations, and I went,
"Oh dear,
I'm done."
Get out of there.
You're right, Jeremy. I'm sorry. Green Dragon podcast, where can we find you? Spotify and all that good stuff?
Yeah, all the usual places, I'd suspect. I don't know if we're still on SoundCloud. I hope so.
Think you
that
are.
was where we started.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's where we began. I don't know why, but
maybe
Spotify didn't exist. I don't think Spotify existed when we started up.
I don't think so. Otherwise, actually, the only thing I was going to ask, let's go back to it. I know Tyler isn't here to make fun of him. You guys been hobbying up anything, doing anything? I know it might not be Lord of the Rings. Anyone doing anything? Hey, Reg.
Reggie's here. Yeah, hello. She's gone. Have I been hobbying?
Yeah.
I requested. Michael Kerr insisted to paint my Nasdaq because I was lazy prior to the tournament last week. Yeah. But I did do up my guys a little bit just to make sure they were all popping on the table. And no, mostly right now, I'm just like thinking, where do I begin?
Yeah.
I'm looking at all the new stuff. I'm like, oh, where do I start? Like, what's going to be the first army I do with this new edition? I'm leaning. I've got to paint those iron hills. There's a couple in the back. You might be able to see them just there.
Well, we've been waiting
just
for the
hanging
Iron
out.
Hills to be done since
Yeah,
Articon, and
yeah.
they never got done. So I
I
think
mean,
that would be a good
2028.
place to do.
Don't worry, they'll be there.
2028 incoming. Sean, you got anything on the painting rack? I know you got some 40k.
Yeah,
content stuff.
I've been doing a bunch of Kill Team and Warcry. Just give myself a real proper palette cleanser before this new edition drops, because I'm going to be going hard in on the new Dunlin and Rohan traders. So I'm going to spec into that Usurpers of Edoras army, which is looking like a bit of fun. But yeah, so just painting up some Night Lords at the moment. I've got 2 left to complete the Kill Team. Yeah.
Yeah, fair. I've been doing some just random minis here and there that I would never touch otherwise. So I've got Get Off the Road.
Oh,
which
damn.
I've just got that
nice.
sitting there. And then I've got Bard from the Defenders of Lake Town set with like the special Tariel and Legolas.
Yeah,
I would never
hell
paint
yeah.
them up any other time, but I don't really want to start another army right now.
No, that's fair.
Let's get into what I have. Again, I'll admit this is like after midnight, having a read by lamplight. I've tried to find as many changes as I can from the last edition to the new edition. We're just gonna go through it. Main thing, everything is quite clean. Everything's well set out. Love that. Some of the picture choices is a bit here and there. There's a lot of blurry pictures.
Oh.
There's one with like Aragorn at the Black Gate, and it's just not a good picture. But anyway, I digress.
Taking it straight off of Google Images, copy,
It's
download
rough.
image. Yeah.
I
Not
mean,
really
I
good.
spotted it instantaneously. A kind of non-rule thing. There is a full page of the code of conduct and how to play the game properly.
Good.
Things like measuring, not swearing at people, not
Yep.
throwing miniatures.
That was actually in the updated rulebook. The one with,
yeah,
the
nice.
one with the FAQs included. That was actually at
Mm.
the front of that book as well. So I imagine it's pretty much the same.
That's awesome because
Yeah.
I can't believe people need to hear it, but apparently they do.
Apparently they
I
do.
think it's good to be able to actually point them somewhere.
Yeah,
and
it's
say,
like
"Hey, look."
you're not just a bad person. You've also broken the rules in the
Yeah,
book. that
literally, yeah.
A little clarifications about Holy Within and Within, which didn't come up a lot, but a lot of people like to complain. Now we get into the stuff that we knew about. Priority. Whoever wins the role, you choose who has priority, and they get priority as normal. It's not like, they move and then you still get to choose the order of combats. They get priority, which obviously early game, you get some interesting things. Once you get into it though, you're usually keeping priority. There's no reason not to. When someone breaks, sometimes it's worth not having it, just for them to do courage tests, but otherwise, I think it's a solid change.
I
Gates
think-
that feel bad moment of rolling a dice and going, all right, cool, I need to lose priority or whatever, I need to win priority, and then rolling not what you got,
Yeah, you
as
don't
opposed to
wanna
your
roll well.
opponent
Yeah.
winning it. It's just like, oh, I rolled well, but I wanted to roll bad. Like
Yeah,
it's.
I think in particular, right, when you've just won a priority, maybe a turn out from combat, and
Yeah.
then your opponent has the advantage on the priority roll in the following very important turn, that is when it particularly sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually important as well, because it depends on if you won priority you didn't want to, and then they win ties, which did really suck. So you can also set yourself up for success in that way. Going into the moving phase, they have really clarified the way things are done, the order things are done. So the activation phase of each model is now a thing, and it very clearly has, like, if you have anything that resolves before movement, you do this now. Then during your movement, you activate anything that activates during movement. They've been set out really clearly to try and do away with, when can you cast magic? It's all very much during your activation phase as you move your mini. Very clear. David Lennon is going to be very glad to hear inaccessible control zones.
Oh, Tom Bombadil
You
bubble.
ignore
See you
them.
later.
So if you're charging someone, whether or not they have a control zone, if there's the weird like spearman right behind that you can't get to and their control zone is extending out, if you cannot reach them, you ignore that control zone.
Cool. Good.
Which was a trick that was kind of used, and I feel like it was very much if you're high enough in the game and you know about it, you can use it, and otherwise people don't. Now you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, it created some really feel bad moments, especially that spear support behind thing. You start getting to those top end tables and people start going, I'm going to abuse this against my opponent, but I'm gonna let it slide. It was one of those things where people would either abuse it or let it slide, whereas now it's just bang, we've got it in stone. You just can't do it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
very much if you do this, then I guess I'll do it too, but I'm not interested in that. So yeah, glad it's not the case. Yeah.
100%. I don't know if this. I thought this was a bigger change than I think it actually is. When you're charging, as soon as you touch a base that you're charging, you have to stop moving.
Okay.
The main thing is though, you can still wrap around a base. You just stop a millimeter away and then continue. There's only very, very rare circumstances where I could imagine that coming up and playing a part, but nothing game changing there. Leap tests, leap, jump, and climb tests. So, one of the issues was when you rolled a 2 to 5, you would have to stop moving on the other side, and often you would land in control zones, and it would create a, well, could you do that in the first place? Can you just now appear in my control zone? How does it work? If you roll a 2 to 5, you go on the other side. If you land in a control zone and you have enough movement left, you must charge the person that you landed in the control zone of.
Beautiful.
Which just keeps the game moving, keeps it so we don't have to have, this is going to take me 3 turns to actually go up to it, jump over, charge you. Just keep it moving, keep it charging. Love that. Reinforcements.
Keeps a flow to the game.
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
and actually means, if you want to defend a barrier, you have to actually defend the barrier.
You can't sit like half an inch off and go,
exactly.
You can't actually jump over and you can't, beautiful. Reinforcements. As people may have seen from the scenario leaks, Maelstrom's still a thing. Maelstrom hasn't changed in terms of alternating warbands. I think that scenarios are currently one of the things we are probably the most let down by. Everything else I'm really happy with. Scenarios have been a big letdown though. Absolutely. When you are moving onto the board, your warband leader must go first.
Okay. Yep.
But everyone else in that warband, instead of having to come on from that singular point, can appear anywhere within 3 inches either side of that point. So you no longer have the single point. You have to do a little, the semicircle. You can just walk in your line. You can set it up normally, which I really like. It also means you don't get the thing where you can't fit your full warband in, or you have to weirdly enter. It's like, no, I have this entire space to enter from. Just makes it easy, really.
Yep. Simplify it. Yeah, good.
I don't know if this is in the current rules. Shooting from elevation, you measure from your base to the part of the model you're shooting.
I've always ruled it base to base.
It has always been base to base. Yeah.
So you're gonna get some interesting things there, I guess.
One sec. How does that apply then? If the other way around, like if someone is on a different elevation and you're lower, are you still?
That's the weird thing, because I think you would go to their base.
Their base from there, yeah. Even if, like say, part of the model was hanging over or something like that.
That's a fantastic point. I'd love to open the book and check, but
that's
can't.
Weird. That's okay. Yeah. Again, not very rarely going to come up,
but it's still interesting to see, because how would they roll it the other way back? The other one, which actually came up, I feel like quite a bit, at least for myself, when you're touching a mate, obviously when you're shooting, you obviously don't have to do it in the way for them. You just ignore them. If you're touching a barrier, same thing. What if you're touching a mate who's touching a barrier? Now you ignore all of it. So you don't have to do it in the way for the barrier that your friend is touching. You just completely ignore it.
Two ranks deep shooting through barriers.
Through barriers, yep. Absolutely. And again, speeds up the pace of the game. You don't have to worry about that. The main issue is obviously now you just have double ranks of archers behind fences and things.
Before we move on, before all this stuff that we've spoken about has zipped out of our brains, are there any major comments?
That is all the moving and shooting stuff. So any thoughts?
Perfect timing. Yeah, for me, a lot of that sounds like it is primarily designed for newer players. So it's pretty much saying, okay, all that stuff where you kind of have the finicky movement, where you need to keep certain things in range of certain things. You can't just measure in a straight line and move things in a straight line. I feel like they're trying to sort of do away with that a bit and make it a little bit easier for you to sort of visualize. I have a line of dudes, right? They're going to push forwards. If I come to a barrier, they're going to line up along the barrier. They're going to shoot, right? You're going to have your bows at the back. It just makes sense. If you are coming onto a board, you're moving a line of dudes onto a board. So, it's probably not hugely impactful for higher level players, because you would kind of know how you're going to do that movement anyway. Both players are affected in the same way. So it really is just about simplifying those lines, I think. Yeah.
I think for me, all this stuff like in the movement, the shooting, and so on that we've spoken about sounds very much like it's just an FAQ update at the moment. Just complete and utter clarification, which I am 100% all about. Make the game clearer, make it easier for people to understand, and make it easier for TOs to make rulings at events. Obviously, we're going to get into some spicier changes a little bit later into the book, but so far, a lot of the intricacies seem to be very much just FAQ changes.
Yeah, very much common sense, very much clarifying things that, yeah, players who play the game just accepted, but newer players would be like, well, why does that happen? Because that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So going into the fight phase, they've maintained pairing off. You don't need to make 1v1s, so you can assign them. The player with priority assigns them however they want. And obviously they were saying essentially as long as there's no 2v2s, because obviously then you could just break them down into 1v1s. Then you do that. Making way. So currently, if you can back away a full inch straight, a straight inch away from the person, you have to do that. If you can't and you have a friendly model that's unengaged, they can make way up to an inch for you to back away. Awesome. Now, even if you have the option to just back away an inch, you can choose to go into your friendly model and they make way for you, which means you can just have a little bit more finicky, but you get more choices in terms of how you back away, how you make way. You don't always have to take the simple 1 inch that doesn't touch anyone, which makes for some interesting stuff where you can kind of shuffle the ranks as you back away.
I think that might actually be a return to an older rule. I think that might have been the case a while back, yeah, where it didn't specify that you had to move that 1 inch in a direction where there's no makeways. Yeah,
I feel like that was the case when I got into the game in 2010,
sure.
which was what, Hobbit era?
I think it was
just pre-Hobbit era. Yeah.
That is all I could see from the fight phase. Not that there wasn't a heap to be changed. It's not like we've gone back to like each model contributes their fight value on their dice or anything. Nothing crazy has happened there. Which
I'm not gonna lie, I was hoping for that. I was really hoping for that.
Because then you don't get the like the elf spear support and everything is now fight 5 or something like that. But yep, we've already had a kind of a brief look with the leaks about swarms and beasts. So beasts can't pick up objectives, swarms can't be trapped or knocked prone. Again, just a clarification that made sense. Like, how is this flock of birds being knocked down? It does mean certain things are going to be really good. I haven't seen the profile for bats yet, but it means that the Bane of Crebain isn't like a horse.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. Cavalry is a thing. One of the things that popped out immediately to me was they've clarified models that have to charge whilst mounted. So I'm thinking Dane on Pig once he's killed someone, Theodred, Eladan or Elrahir if their brother is killed.
If they stay the same way as well.
Yeah, true. Not that we've seen the profiles. Dernhelm or Aemma when Theoden gets killed, or
I suspect Dernhelm's gone, but I could be wrong.
So they've just made an Aelin profile with Merry as a war gear option. You do not have to dismount. Which, do I agree with the premise? No. But at least it's in writing, we don't have to argue about it anymore.
I agree with the premise. I don't think you should have to. Why are you forcing me off my pig? I want to stay on my pig.
Oh, man, I'm very much in Alex's camp on this one. Like,
I'll take 20 seconds just max. My only thought is, you're the model. The chance of you having to do it is actually really rare. It's really hard to have to force someone to dismount to charge, because you can move the models however you want. So only if you like call a move and then you can only fit. It is really tough to set up.
There are times when it happens though, and it's just I don't know.
Bad.
There's so many other things that are anti-cavalry or anti-mount in the game.
Yeah, and especially this edition, the changes to Horse Lord and all that
Pikes as well,
and the price. Yeah,
I feel like your own rule forcing you off your mount, it thematically doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. My idea is like they're so reckless or so angry or whatever their rules making them do that in order for me to go kill this person, fulfill my bloodlust, I'll even get off my horse to do it. Again, in the end, Sure. As long as it's clarified and there's no, oh, that's how we do it here, that's how we do it here.
No
It's
French
in the
FAQs.
rules. We've
Easy,
clarified no French FAQs. Some people are just lucky. That's my favorite quote.
That's awesome. Yeah.
But when you get transfixed, you don't get your cav bonuses. So he's no longer like Aragorn charges and he still gets 4 attacks even when he's transfixed. It's clarified. They could have made it an active rule or something, but that's fine. Magical powers. No longer will we have the black dart of the horse that you cannot touch. If the mount or rider gets targeted, either one can choose to resist.
Good. Yeah.
I made fun of Tyler last night by going, cool, Elendil can now help his horse.
Uh-oh.
Brutal.
Poor thing. But that just makes sense. You're targeting the model gets to resist.
Having run wraiths over the last month or two, yeah, it felt dirty every time I did it.
Yeah.
I didn't like doing it.
Especially because you hold off till the moment
yeah.
they charge.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, you also can't call heroics now, and yeah.
Can't do anything, you're just stuck there for a turn, and yeah, it just sucks. Or, you know, if it is like, they obviously have a long way to go to reach where they're trying to get to, like an objective or whatever, taking out the horse early is just, yeah, it's nasty. Yep.
Yeah. Breakpoints and mounts surviving. So, famously, Warg Marauders were an absolute pain for this, where you had to kill a Warg and a Shieldman and 2 Bowmen to count as 1 kill. That is not the case anymore. So, if you've killed the rider and the mount is still alive, that counts as a complete kill.
Wow, okay. Alright, that's significant.
Yeah, that's huge. I did not hear that, yes. We were on a call until like fucking midnight, 1 a.m. my time, and some things just kind of went whoop, and that was clearly one of them.
But yeah, you don't have to go chase after that one Warg that's preventing you from getting a kill. You've gotten the kill on the dude. It's just a happy accident that he got to remain.
Yep. So, for breakpoint,
yes,
how does that impact that?
So breaking and breakpoints are the exact same. It's you determine your breakpoint, you must get over that breakpoint in order to count as broken.
Yep.
All it is as soon as you kill that rider, it counts as a kill. You're not counting models on the table, you're counting models you've killed.
Okay, so a mount is essentially not a model.
Correct.
Okay.
In terms of the model count, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I suppose I can't remember if it has been revealed or not, but I don't think Lords of Battle will exist.
Even if it did, I think they'll still individually count as wounds you can deal. But I think it's purely in terms of breaking. That's the only time it'll come up.
Sure.
But yeah, kill you. So you're still incentivized to kill both.
So for quartering, it effectively is a dead model, and the mount is still running around but doesn't count as a model.
Yes.
Okay.
Heroic moves and marches. When you're doing them off the board, there was like recon is a classic one where you can you want to call a heroic move to get some good guys off the board, but then your hero's no longer on the board. So where do you measure 6 inches from? Now, if you call it, you move off the board. Anyone as part of that move or march can also move off the board. If they can't get off the board, they can't move at all.
Okay, cool.
Just again, clarity. Does it come up a lot? Yeah. No, but now there's no question of but what happens now.
Yeah. And Goblin Town doesn't care. Cool.
Exactly. I will skip this one only because it's mentioned later, because this is regarding heroics and things. But in terms of heroics, heroic combat. So one of the classic things to do with, say, Sean or Dunedain against, let's say, Matt, a Witch King or a Dane, is they call a heroic combat. The big hero calls a massive heroic combat. You call a heroic combat back. And if the little guy, if the Dunedain goes first and Dane kills him, you don't get to move because it wasn't your heroic combat. Now, if you both call heroic combat, if anyone dies, anyone gets to move.
Yeah, goes off at the same time.
There's no whose heroic combat was. It's just it was a heroic combat, and whoever was killed, the opponent gets to move.
Yeah, cool. Wait. Just to be entirely clear here, it doesn't work if you didn't call a heroic combat in the same combat. Like, okay, so a Dunedain fighting a regular dude. The regular dude won't get to move.
Only if you both call heroic combat. Yes. That would be funny.
Funny.
Heroic combat in the Warrior of Rohan.
I know. I'm sorry. I was on one when I just considered that as a possibility.
Yeah. In terms of other heroics, I think we've already hopefully you guys have seen channeling, resolving, accuracy, what that does in terms of gives you
I
the
don't have
rerolls.
seen accuracy.
So accuracy is still all of you get reroll in the ways. The person who called it gets sharpshooter, which is the choosing to go mount or rider when they go for a cav model.
Nice. Actually, really good.
Which again, another anti-cav thing. They've really tried to limit how much you were incentivized to grab them. Heroic challenge, heroic strength. Again, great, fantastic changes overall. There is nothing in the heroic section that I'm confused about. Heroic moves and marches, nothing has really changed there either. We'll get into how heroic marches kind of influence, but not really. Fate rolls, you must do them one by one.
Makes sense.
So there's no more like you roll 3 dice and then start spending might. You roll one, fully resolve it, move to the next one.
That is another return to the older rules.
Yeah, awesome. Monsters in combat. If you win the fight and you kill someone, you may immediately make a free strike on everyone supporting the person you just killed.
Yes.
Stunning.
Very
Phenomenal.
cool. Yeah, I like that.
Pikes take 2 hits. Spearmen take the 1. I'm a big fan of this one.
It was really interesting that Kylie was not pleased with that initially. I don't know how she'll feel about it once we actually see how it works.
Really, I think it's just the line breaking feel of it is just so much better.
It is very much always whenever there's something that is sort of out of the realms of the basic rules, like when it really kind of breaks the game in that way, you do have to be very considerate of like what kind of impact is this going to have. The major impact this will have is, do I support models that are fighting monsters? Yeah. Right?
Yep.
That's a serious question to ask now because they're no longer safe. If it's a hero with a spear, that's super concerning. Like occasionally you might have done that for the fight value or whatever, but now it's like it's I think a great change because as we've seen over the years, monsters have tiptoed between being almost useless, right? I'm thinking the heroic strike on everybody rules monsters just sucked.
Yeah.
To completely busted with what the way hurl worked.
Old hurl.
OG hurl, D6 plus the difference in strength. Hurl in any direction.
Oh god, that was so good.
Hurl behind yourself or whatever.
Yeah, through the legs.
It was so
phenomenal.
Dumb, yeah. So and then that in turn made the other brutal powers weaker because you wouldn't want to use them. The hurl was so powerful.
Yeah.
So it's good to see that they've sort of taken that into consideration.
I just like that monsters, there is an element of fear. When you look at a monster, you now go, okay, I can kill it. It's fine. It's not going to absolutely decimate me. But I need to consider what I'm doing. I need to consider my options with it now. And that's what I like about it.
Yeah. And the other big thing is that there was such a focus, I feel like, on Monstrous Charge. Monstrous Charge just made such a massive difference to potential damage output. Whereas now, even monsters that don't have that do still have this possible, damaging output. So I think that's really good. It sort of brings everything back into a more balanced state. And I think it's just a good thing to have.
Yep. I was never I actually didn't mind. Like, if someone goes up with a couple heroes and double strikes up and then removes and you get a heap of dudes on you, kill a monster, sure. It was when you throw in, 4 or 5 dudes with spear supports, the monster fluffs, and then they die.
And that's it.
Against random dudes. That's that. Or even if they won, they would kill on average 2 dudes. Winning on 3s, you assume. No. The danger, if you don't get it, they're going to hit you really, really hard. It's just so, love it. And also, I don't know, Matt, if you've seen, it looks like Mordor Trolls and Troll Chieftains 4 wounds.
I did say that, yeah.
Stonky
nice.
boys.
Yes.
Boys.
Very cool. And I'm sure we'll get into it later, but dominant as a rule itself as well is huge for monsters.
Oh, it's just so well executed. There's no more. Well, obviously, it's still going to be difficult to do some of those objective games, but you're not just at such a massive disadvantage. Brutal power attacks. Barge is now D3 plus 3 inches. No longer do you have to roll that dirty 1 and sit there going, I guess I'm not doing anything.
Yeah.
So you're always guaranteed to be able to charge the people you
The models
barged at
you
a
just
minimum.
barged, yeah.
Exactly. Rend is the exact same. You make as many strikes as you have attacks. There's no doubling up against traps. I always thought Rend was just really, like, if it came up, it was useful, but you didn't get the trap. I always thought that was well balanced. I'm glad they kept it the same.
Agreed.
Hurl. Wow. What a change.
Oh,
Yeah.
baby.
So the main thing is, obviously, you roll for your distance the exact same way. Then you have your intelligence check. If you pass it, you get to choose the model you aim at with the hurl. If you fail, your opponent chooses one of their models within range to target with the hurl. It is no longer the old school line of dudes to just get flung back. It is a catapult toss where they just land directly on that model. Sick. Cool.
Yep. Beautiful. Elegant.
Yep.
Demure.
Elegant.
Demure.
She.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty pleased with that.
I'm curious because obviously Barge was a massive way to not even really do damage against a lot of armies, but just to put them on their ass, which made for a far slower game of, okay, you can't wound until you stand up and you're moving half, and it would slow down the game a lot. You want to do damage against someone that's a bit away, you throw someone at them, and then you keep going.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Now,
Sorry,
the
go on.
intelligence check with hurl. This is a
Yes.
slightly big one. You've got it on your paper, Alex?
I think I said it.
Oh,
Yeah,
did you?
Yeah, he mentioned it.
definitely.
Yeah,
Oh,
he
sorry.
mentioned it. Yeah.
That went over
No,
my
no,
head.
you're all good.
Yeah.
And for those who have monstrous mounts, so a Nazgul and Fellbeast, the Nazgul gets to make the intelligence check, not the Fellbeast.
Yep.
Obviously, I think that was hopefully common sense, so no issues there.
I think it's really good that we might see some monsters that are just like really focused on that hurl. Maybe, it's another anti-cav thing, isn't it? It's that poor hero, no more Suladan sitting back behind the lines, and you just throw it at him and there he goes.
But if anything, because the range is the same, so if anything, it's actually become better for Cav because you don't get 7 of my Cav got dismounted by 1 hurl.
That is true. Yeah, absolutely. But I think being able to target that one hero, you don't have to set up the perfect line with your monster.
Yes.
So, it's a downgrade for Fell Beasts, and for like a Gullivar, for instance. But for a lot of other monsters, it's an upgrade because you don't really get that opportunity to get into a really nice line.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking for Cave Troll, and I know they have really bad intelligence, I think, so they're probably not going to hit the thing they're trying to that much of the time. But when they do, they get to target a really specific model that it may be really good to knock down,
Yep, 100%. Monsters, done. War Beasts.
Oh, this is...
So I don't
love
think I've
this
heard
shit.
this yet.
Oh, right,
I've
get
heard
ready.
the general.
Get
I don't think
ready.
I've heard the general War Beast rules. So yeah, let's go.
Oh, general War Beast rules. So there is no longer the ability to get knocked out of the Howder. So no Call Winds or Sorcerous Blast that destroys your war leader and he just goes tumbling out. If you would be knocked out, you just go prone. And the same rules apply in terms of if you're prone, you must try and stand up, etc. Keeping in mind, Great Beasts are legacied, so this is mainly referring to the Mûmak.
Yes.
There's so many cool things. So,
Okay.
if your opponent gets priority, and Matt, let's say you charge me with 2 Iron Hills warriors.
Okay.
What's a Mûmak gonna? Oh no, not Iron Hills. 2 Orc warriors.
Yep.
What's a Mûmak gonna do? He can't move anymore.
He's stuck. He
Yes,
can't do anything.
can.
Oh my god.
He can. So,
All right, let's hear it.
unless you charge the Mûmak with enough cumulative strength to be above the strength of the Mûmak can still trample, but only in a straight line. No pivoting.
All
That
right.
means you need to, depending on the strength.
Yeah,
of
that would still work against 2 Iron Hills warriors.
Was what, strength 8 or strength 9? I can't remember.
They're strength 9, aren't they? Remember?
Either way, so you need at
Yeah.
least 10 strength of models charging that Mûmak.
Okay.
So generally 3 to
3 or 4.
5 models,
3 to
Yeah.
4, yeah.
depending on that. Hobbit's gonna suck. But yeah, no pivot. But it's just again that the idea of that relentless advance. There's not little one dude that just holds a Mûmak in place. If he gets lucky, you pin him into place for like 4 turns. Nah. I think it's just
Okay.
I think
Yeah.
it makes total sense. No issues there.
Cool.
A lot of the general stuff in terms of Mûmaks, how they pivot, how they move is the same.
Mhm.
So you move around terrain, you move models out of the way while you pivot. All that's the same.
So still that janky, potentially, extra
potential
3, 4,
where
5
you,
inches.
you pivot and you accidentally move 6 more inches and then move 8 inches as you trample. Yeah.
Yeah.
Magic. Magic targeted can now obviously target anyone in the Howdah, the commander, and people in the Howdah, the commander, and the Mûmak itself. You can't target the Howdah, no chill soul and that thing. You cannot do anything to stop the Mûmak moving.
Sure.
Transfixes, compels anything at either the commander or the Mûmak, does not stop it trampling. Even if you transfix the commander, obviously he won't be able to call anything, but otherwise the Mûmak will still move.
I got one for you. You ready?
Yeah.
Writhing Vines against a war beast.
Is that the half move? The difficult terrain?
Yeah.
I think difficult
terrain
terrain is still a thing. As in, they still have to take... they still have to follow difficult terrain rules.
Yeah.
That could be really interesting.
That could be anti-Mûmak. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's
Who's that? That's Radagast and... Is it Keller?
Who was saying Treebeard was going to get it? What the hell?
Probably Tyler or Jay.
No, he's full of it. It might have been maybe Arwen or someone like that.
Yeah, I don't. Arwen's just renewing Wrath.
Oh, maybe it was Celeborn. Was it Celeborn?
It might have been Celeborn. I know. I'm almost certain. Ratty has it.
Yeah, Ratty does. Yeah.
Right,
but yeah,
cool. So no magic to stop it. I can't remember if that stops the pivot as well, or if it's just a straight move. But anything that just lets you continue moving on your big elephant makes sense.
Cool.
Yep.
There is a chariot section of the rules.
All right, I'm excited about this.
Mm-hmm.
So, from what I understand, obviously can't no chariots anymore, but this is for the Iron Hills chariot and Radagast sleigh.
Yes.
So no more Tokyo drifting.
There is a chariot pivot template, and I kind of hate that. It's literally it's literally the exact same as usual. You have it's a 45-degree angled thing. You put the X in the middle of your base. It's the classic. You move 4, you rotate 45, etc.
Mm-hmm.
No issues there. If you're on a chariot, you auto pass break tests like if you're a war beast. That's all the same. When you move through difficult terrain, you roll a dice. On a 1, you take a wound on the chariot.
Love that. That's Horus Heresy tank rules. I'm absolutely there for it.
Sure.
Yeah, honestly, although Writhing Vines.
Yeah, Writhing Vines. How about that? Yeah, so that's just a wound on the chariot itself.
On the chariot itself.
I think maybe I'm going crazy on this. I was looking at the Iron Hills one because I did spot that one. And it looked like it was just the chariot itself had wounds, and then it kind of
it's one complete model. Yeah, that was
whereas Radagast will be different, obviously.
Yes, because I'm almost certain the chariot is just one full stat line, and that's it.
Yeah.
Okay. If you hit terrain with the chariot, which again, I guess if you get compelled or something, perhaps, you take 3 strength 6 hits. Sure.
Holy shit.
But
okay.
Big. Yeah. I guess if you don't rotate properly and you hit something, yeah, sure.
Yeah, not good. Don't do that.
But I said compel, but they're also immune to magic in the same way as the war beasts are.
Okay. What about other things that could move you?
I would assume the same.
Yeah, okay.
What else would move you?
Spectre.
I don't think. I would assume it just effects that have the chance to stop them moving or move them themselves.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yep. In terms of shooting, again, it is treated as one whole model. So there's no aiming up or down or going. Mm-hmm. That seems just hits it.
Good.
This was the one. When it charges, it gets +1 attack against cav and infantry.
Mm-hmm.
And if it wins the fight, it knocks down cav and infantry.
Yeah.
So again, massive anti-cav potential there.
That's not changed though, is it? Wasn't that already?
Iron Hills ones might have, but the Carnage one definitely didn't, and Radagast definitely did.
Okay. There was a while there. I probably haven't looked at the card rules for a while, but there was a while there where it actually had monstrous charge, which is exactly what that is. So yeah, must have changed it.
Which is great that they've actually made it not have monstrous charge, because the monstrous charge itself was always, I don't know why, I found it very confusing.
Yeah,
it was like the strength and what charges what, and yeah. War gear, 2-handed weapons, Hopefully, you guys have seen this. 200 weapons. If you roll a 6, you get to keep the 6. They're all broadsword now. It's actually a really good buff. The main thing now is obviously in the rules that we have, you only get to choose one weapon. I guess so. Yeah, they'll be just two-handed. Pikes, if they get directly charged by cav, will get +1 to wound the cav that charged them.
Cool. Good.
Knights of Day rules. I like it.
Yep.
Dwarf longbows, 24 inches, strength 3.
Love it.
Makes sense.
Yep.
Throwing weapon, 33% limit in the army.
And
For
yeah,
those
I think that's really good.
It makes so much sense. For those wondering about, but Corsairs, how am I going to run them? It is now one of the war gear options is light shield and throwing weapons. So they don't all come base with it. RIP Grimhammers?
Yeah, Grimhammer's forced to go two-hand and 33% throwing weapons hurts them.
It's
a fair
fine.
bit.
It's fine, honestly. I think with the buff to two-hand, you sort of go, okay, it's...
That's the thing, throwing off dice.
Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
That's it.
Exactly right.
Elven cloaks work the same way as they do now, except you also get anyone that shoots you, so I guess within 6 inches, gets a -1 to shoot them as well.
Oh, nice. Oh, yeah, good.
Okay.
I think too often it felt like it didn't do anything. You know?
Yeah, because as soon as you get in range with throwing weapons, and against all the Elven cloak stuff that was defense 3, you would just massacre them with. I'm thinking, again, Corsairs, Assault and Lothlorien, all that stuff was rough. Drums. Drum cannot stack with Heroic March. Drum is a 12-inch Heroic March. Okay,
good. Yeah, I think it was too powerful.
Which also means that they have to stay within 12 inches of the drum.
Yeah.
Which makes total sense. You no longer have Eastlings splitting all over the board with 12 inches. Yeah, it makes total sense. Warhorns. Matt, do you know what a warhorn does yet?
No idea. No.
Oh, let me tell you something.
Hit me, bro.
24-inch +1 courage, same as usual.
Yep.
The main thing I'll point out is all the heroes that have horns that aren't warhorns are now unique warhorns.
Yep.
There's no more Hobbit double horn that you can squeeze in and stuff. Additionally, the model counts as dominant too.
Cool.
Additionally, it's only 25 points.
Good. Additionally,
if it's a warrior that has a horn, the first time a friendly hero makes a stand fast, if their horn is within 6 inches, that stand fast gets increased by 3 inches.
Ooh,
if the hero has the horn, it will be their first stand fast that they make.
Yeah. Cool.
But
so is that only one hero per horn?
No, it'll be essentially once per game. So you'll do
once per game. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So you'll only affect one hero once.
Yeah.
But still, I like Dominant 2 as well. Is just kind of cheeky.
Yeah.
Especially on things like I experienced last night, Boromir. Just gets a bit of that presence on objectives.
Cool. No one can, just want to check, no one can pick up the horn, can they?
No, it doesn't appear so, no.
Yeah. So it's still pretty easy to snipe. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. But the thing is, you usually wouldn't really care against a lot of
It's not a huge target, yeah.
No.
Yeah, cool.
Going to armor and things, Mithril, it is the same +3 defense. You also cannot be rendered. I don't know if that was a current thing, but...
No, it wasn't. Yeah, that's cool.
Love that. Light shields do not give you +1 defense, but you can still shield with them.
Yep.
So that's, I believe, what is on the
Corsairs
and I think also the new
Wildmen,
the
Hill Tribes.
Hillsmen, yeah,
whatever they're called,
whatever. And light
dudes.
armor gives you +1 defense against shooting only. The one that springs to mind was the survivors of Lake Town are now D3 with light armor. So they're not going to get to D5 with a shield. They'll get 2, and I think they take only light shields.
Excellent.
But yeah, so they'll be D4 against shooting, D3 in combat.
Jay just pulling that ladder up behind him, just like, good luck, guys.
That is all the war gear and things. There's only a couple of things left, particularly special rules and siege engines. I'll go to siege engines first because it's kind of just boring. All of them have a 45-degree shooting arc.
Good.
Which again makes sense.
Needed.
The sideways and backwards siege engine shots were just dumb as hell. There are now 2 different types of shots: arcing shots and direct shots. Essentially, arcing shots you just don't do in the ways. Direct shots you do have to do in the ways.
For the 45 degrees.
Yes.
So I'm assuming then that you would need to rotate the siege engine and could not shoot.
Yeah, if it move, the same as usually. If you didn't move it, you cannot shoot that turn.
Okay, cool. But rotating would count as a move.
Yeah, yeah.
Because otherwise, obviously,
I would.
What's the point?
do
Yeah,
anything. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
100%. And the dismantling of a siege engine, you do not have to spend the entire turn touching it. You just have to. You're allowed to move into it as long as you do nothing else that turn. So you don't have to spend, because it used to be that you would have to spend from the priority phase till the end phase completely touching it the entire time. No longer have to do it. You can move into it in the move phase, and then you don't, as long as you don't cast magic, shoot, fight, etc., you can dismantle it. Love that. Special rules. Shield wall is counted before backing away, which at first sounds like a buff. Having played against it last night, it's just different. When you're in your shield wall, it's fine, but once the lines become, which I guess is kind of the way shield wall works,
Makes sense.
but once the lines break down, there's no more backing away into shield wall. Which, yeah, like you said, just makes sense.
It makes so much sense. Like, I can't believe that it wasn't how it was before. It should have been always before the fight, you know, because that's when you are in that.
That's when you're in that.
Yeah.
There's now going to be, I think, a lot of picking alternating combats to knock that shield wall buff out of the way. So you'll get that first guy with the shield wall bonus. He then moves away potentially. And then suddenly it's like, all right, cool. I alternate over here. All right, this guy's only touching the one.
So it's just before the fight, not at the start of the fight phase.
It'll be so before that. So you would once you win the combat against someone in shield wall, you would then assess right then, are they in shield
when
wall?
You win the fight. Got it. Okay, cool.
Shield wall sharpshooter, as we've mentioned, is when you're aiming at a mounted model, you can choose directly whether to hit the rider or the mount.
Savage.
Crazy, especially the frequency of models that have it.
There's so many.
Ridiculous.
There's so many.
Does the Legolas League have sharpshooter? Surely he does.
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, that dude's a menace.
That in combat. Ooh.
Yeah, and then and you know he's got all the other stuff he has as well.
The three
Actually,
shots.
There was one weird wording with pinpoint where I'm just like, why did they include that? It was like, you know, you can shoot into your own combat, but you could already do that, and you can take 3 shots instead of 1. But whatever.
Yeah, I think because you can do 3 shots into the combat, but only the one he's in. Yeah.
Large shield wall.
Yeah.
Oryx with shield wall. I'm sorry, I can't go past that. Oryx with shield wall.
It makes sense. It makes total sense. For only the fighting Uruk-hai, not the scouts. That makes sense.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm there for it.
No,
they were in a wall with shields and they're lining up. Because it means they don't have to make me a model of the ones that were climbing up the causeway with the massive shields. They don't have to make those for because I really want like a blackguard style Uruk. Large target essentially just takes the flying monster FAQ and makes it a rule. So there are a lot of things now that are large targets, which include some non-flying monsters. So I believe Treebeard has it off the top of my head.
Yep.
Along with a couple other things, but again,
Balrog's got it.
Oh, okay, yeah. So no in the ways need to be taken other than terrain or other things with large target or the monster keyword, something like that. But essentially just codified it, made us we don't have to look up some random rule and then explain to our opponent why we killed their Gullivar turn 1. And the last one is flying. So you will see that things that can fly in their profile will no longer have like a 4-inch move or a 2-inch move and fly as a special rule. They will have a 12-inch move and the fly special rule, which just gives you a long list of the things you can do or not, which includes all flying things have a 4-inch walking movement. So we don't have random different movements for them and going, okay, how far does a bat actually move? And the main thing is, in order to cast a spell, if you are, so hello Radagast, you must land, which is, again, just you can't be in the middle of flying over the formation.
Yep. Cool.
Which stops things like Ratha Bruinen or whatever, like in the middle of your flight or whatever.
Yeah.
Yep. And I think the clarification of if you land in a control zone, you have to charge that model. Like, cool. Okay, that makes sense. Totally.
Guys, that's it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
There is nothing there that has me concerned, worried, or even going like, oh, like that's a really like that's gonna change the way I play the game.
Yep.
It just seems like a really concise, clean update to how we play.
Yeah,
And I think
100%.
that it's kind of building on what we've seen in the past. So in the most recent update, you'd have a few little additions. I mean, yeah, they reworked all the profiles back then. They've kind of done that now. I think it's fair to say most profiles are staying basically the same. Yeah. But I think it's really good that, yeah, they aren't going overboard with some of these things. Like, there are a couple of rules which I'm sure will end up saying, wow, that was maybe a bit much. At the moment, I'm looking at things like, well, I think Auric Shield Wall's very strong. I think the the Rivendell rule in the Last Alliance with the
the
Auto
whirly.
6 Moon.
Dude.
I keep coming back to that and thinking that is, I think that's going to be oppressive. We'll see what happens because it's such a strong shooting force on top of not getting advantage for being charged. That's a lot to deal with for opponent armies. But yeah, I think overall there's nothing that I'm looking at and going that's completely insane. Like what are you thinking? And the main thing I love, what I hate, what I've always hated, is superfluous rules that don't do anything, right? So we're looking back on previous editions, Heroic Challenge. We're looking back on, you know, there's a lot of them. I'm not going to go over all of them, but like I feel like every rule in the game now is going to see use. I'm not looking at every single thing that I've seen. If it was something that was like a really specific, I don't know, if what's a good example? Something where it's really specific and just was barely seeing any kind of use whatsoever. It now, like the Elven Cloaks, has something tacked onto it where it's like, okay, this actually does something. You're paying for it. It's gonna do something, right?
Yeah, and they all make
Great to see.
sense. Like the Elven Cloak one, yeah, it's still difficult to see them. Like I can now see them, but it's tough.
Yeah, absolutely.
It feels like everything makes sense. It feels like just an overhauled FAQ. Obviously, the biggest changes that I think is obviously the different types of monsters, the swarms and beasts being a thing. Obviously, intelligence is a thing. The heroics, massive overhaul on the lesser used heroics. Resolve is awesome. I love Resolve.
Yeah, you get to move now with Resolve.
You get to move,
Perfect.
and if you get charged, you still get a stand fast,
charged,
which is amazing.
Nice. Yep.
And then the monsters, which was again something that everyone had been kind of talking about. The profiles themselves, again, we've kind of mentioned some of them here and there. The profiles of the profiles, I'm really happy with all of them. A lot of people I've seen like talking about Numenor and how they don't have a banner, and a lot of the scenarios have lots of banner VPs. I don't think that is not a problem with the army at all. The army would have been fine without banners. People have run armies without banners from the start. The issue is the scenario itself.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I think
sorry,
I was just going to, that's the only, apart from Guildhall being in Legacies, the only thing that stands out for me in this new edition coming up revolves around scenarios. One, at the moment, there is only 6. We've gone from, 18
12.
scenarios?
18.
Yeah, we've made 18 total, 12 in the main rulebook, yeah.
Yep. And we're dropping down. That hurts a little bit, but I'm sure that'll get, rectified in the near future, and I really hope it does. The other thing for me was banner VPs. Personally, I was hoping they were just going to completely scrap them, get rid of the banner VPs. But alas, you can potentially get 4 points in every scenario, I believe it is, for banner VPs. And that for me, that sucks. That really does suck. And that's, it's not a problem with the army, as you guys just said, with Numenor. It's a problem with the scenario.
Yeah. The only way I could see them fixing it is if more things counted as banners. If horns counted as banners and your something else counted as a banner, just something that would make it.
Yeah.
Or even if heroes, so for example, in the Dale Erebor Legendary Legion army thing that's just recently popped up, yes, Dale can still take banners, whatever, but Girion and Thrall count as banners. Now, if they counted towards banner points, I'd start to be okay with that.
I think it's the basic idea, right? Of you want to take this army, you are automatically at a disadvantage.
Yeah.
It's like, it sucks. It's a really horrible thing to go into a tournament knowing, well, if I'm taking this army, I'm just going to have to be that much better because I'm not going to get these points. And I think I threw up a whole different number of ways that you can solve this. The one that I've been thinking of recently was make one model a VIP, and it has to be like the lowest points cost model in your army, and you just have to keep it alive, right?
Oh, I love that.
And that can be it. But no, some people just can't get those points.
Yep.
Bad luck.
Yeah,
I guess.
that
And Maelstrom sucks. I hate Maelstrom. Screw Maelstrom.
Oh, there was so many ways to fix it.
Yeah.
Oh, just
Alternating warbands
alternating.
would have just solved
It would have been so.
Yeah.
I'm real. I don't know if it was a. This might be. I don't know if it was a different team or different people that decided to do that. But I think that was one of my biggest gripes was actually just the scenarios and how you score. I love it going up to 20 points. It just doesn't seem to match everything else. Yeah.
Yeah.
And someone else said like, oh gee, I know they're going up to 20 points. I hope it's not all just scaling of the existing points. And that's exactly what they've done as well. So they haven't really added any extra objectives in there. To be fair, it's kind of hard to create objectives in this game. And one thing that they have done that I kind of like is there are a few profiles in the game that can get bonus VPs.
Oh, dude, it's
I love
so
that idea.
interesting.
Yeah,
yeah,
cool.
Ranges of Athelion. If you keep Frodo, Sam, and Gollum around, that's one VP for each of
I think
them.
it's Goblin Town if you get the jailing of the
the
heroes
prisoners.
with the Grinner and the Goblin King.
And there's the Snow Troll with the two guys.
Does he score points?
Yeah, okay.
I haven't seen that.
Oh, you
Yeah,
haven't seen that one?
I haven't seen their profile.
dude,
Oh,
tell me.
dude! Oh,
Dude,
wake
tell us.
up! They new profiles just dropped. Okay, it's on Reddit, I think. So the two new orc heroes, they're basically just captain level.
Yeah, sick.
Because
Because it's 150 points for all of them.
150 for all three.
Yeah, beautiful.
Bonkers.
The
Love
snow
that.
troll is basically a cave troll. But okay, so the cool part about them with the VPs, whenever they wound an enemy model or whenever they kill an enemy model, they can loot the bodies. On a roll of a natural 6, they gain a piece of loot or a trinket. They call it. I love that trinket.
Trinket. That's a cute little name.
And then, as long as one of them's alive at the end of the game, you count up how many trinkets you got, up to 5, and you can get up to 5 bonus VPs.
Damn.
Cool.
Very
I
cool.
love that so much.
Because the only other one I was aware of was Bilbo Master Burglar.
Sure.
I'm pretty
yes.
sure because he can steal objectives off people when he's invisible and moves through their base on a 2+. He can steal it, and I think if he's holding an objective at the end, he also counts as 1 VP.
Yeah.
Yeah,
See,
that's so cool.
I would like
Great
to
idea.
see more of that stuff, like in armies that can't run banners.
That would
Include
be fine.
that shit.
Yeah.
Then that
if
solves
that is
the problem.
case, that would solve it. Absolutely. Yeah. Totally agree.
You know, if Isildur's still running around, he's got the ring, have a couple of points. I don't know, you know, something along the lines of that. Like,
do you know what? That would do it. That'd be fine.
that'd be great. But
Damn it. Oh well. Here we are. Hopefully they consider those kind of things, because leaving it as it is, it is disappointing.
well, look, we know that GW watches our videos because they just took down 4 of them. So
Good to know.
yeah.
I don't think they watched the Green Dragon. We were very negative early days, so they probably switched us off, put us on the blacklist.
Yeah.
Well,
Awesome. Well, I think I'll send us out. But this was a great chat. I'm really excited about New Edition, and it sounds like you guys are as well. So, but from me, from Matt, from Mr. Spaghetti Man, to the wider MGG community, have a good day or night. Love you.